Wednesday afternoon, guys. I'm Jerry Miller. Thank you kindly for joining us on the I Love CVille Show. Thank you for bearing with us as we get a little bit of a late start today. A talk show could be a behind the scenes of the I Love CVille Network, right, Judah?
No doubt.
I mean, we are working on a number of deals here for clients. Had a firm locally who's going remote reach out to us about purchasing their suite of office furniture. So we had a valuation negotiation, which Judah caught a glimpse of today when it came to office furniture, potential upgrades on set. I mean, let's weave you in. And guys, we're in downtown Charlottesville. We're a block from the downtown mall, a block from the courthouses, right next to the police department. In fact, the alleged Rivanna Trail attacker did an interview and had a photograph taken of him. Hall Spencer, the courts reporter, the police beat reporter for the Daily Progress, took a picture of the alleged Rivanna Trail attacker, literally 80 yards from where we're sitting right now. Judah Wickhauer is director and producer. Viewers and listeners, we want your perspective on the show. All we want to do is conduct and facilitate your perspective on the show while we offer some of ours. A firm closing, we're obviously not going to identify which one. Going remote, if you may. Mm-hmm. What would you characterize? Thousands of dollars of office furniture in there from a new standpoint, from an initial standpoint. I would say from a brand new standpoint, maybe close to $20,000 of office furniture.
Sure.
I mean, right? Brand new, out of the gate. Now a value, because folks are doing hybrid remote work so much, of pennies on the dollar. A glut of office furniture anywhere you look on the Facebook Marketplace, the Craigslist, the online listings for people to sell stuff.
Yeah.
Future for office furniture. What is it? We talked about this. You and I had a back and forth debate about the need for drawers. And I'm like, just save it in the cloud. Save the paperwork, scan it, save it in the cloud, save it on a desktop, create folders on our MacBooks, on our computers for the clients and their paperwork, and let's just get rid of the paper. Who needs the drawers? You're like, not so fast, my friend.
If it was just papers, then sure, I'd say that was a decent alternative. But considering the fact that there's, the measuring tape that you wanted me to bring.
The measuring tape, okay. Go ahead.
It's got to go somewhere.
Okay.
And that's not the only thing. So...
I mean, outside of the hardware for the podcasting network, why would we need drawers when everything could be saved in the cloud? And if you don't need drawers, why would we need desks of size when all we would need is a potential place to put a MacBook Air down? The podcasting network is different. Can you go to the studio camera? I'll stand up, point to the podcasting network. Let me know when we're on the podcasting network.
Go.
You're on studio camera? Okay. Turn on this mic if you may. This mic if you could.
Let's see. Okay.
All right. So if you're watching the visual version of the program, I'll do a little show and tell. The podcasting network obviously has hardware. You're talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cameras. 8 tripods, a number of hardware where it's 2 MacBooks interacting with each other. You got obviously this conference room desk. You got these chairs. You got 3 iPads interacting with these flat screen TVs through Apple. What do we got over there plugged in, Judah?
What do we have with? You talking about the iPads?
Yeah.
They're iPads.
We got, no, that's plugged into the computer. I'm plugged into the TVs. I'm drawing a blank on this.
Okay, you just mean like the Apple TV?
The Apple TV, thank you very much. So simple that I forgot it. The soundboard, I mean, this is the hardware where we need the space. I mean, the studio space is probably what? What are we talking here? I mean, this is 1,000 square foot. I'd say probably half is allocated to the studio, right?
Yeah, I'd say maybe closer to a third.
There's no way this is a third, dude. There's no way
How
this
far,
is a
how
third.
far back you going?
From here all the way to the studio camera here, it's easily half.
Okay.
A half. But my point is this, and we go back on a two-shot for us, and then we'll get to the headlines here. This is my point here. I'm seeing firsthand with clients downsizing office space to the point where a firm locally established reached out to us, and the firm's principal and their 8 associates, the firm's 8 associates, are choosing to go remote hybrid, which means a fire sale on the firm's office equipment, notably conference room tables, workstations, chairs, and shelves.
Yeah.
We have a back and forth with the firm's principal. The firm's principal, OG, old school, I would say, right? Is that safe to say? Old school?
Probably.
You were there. What do you mean probably? You saw him. Would you say he's old school? Would you say he was young, Judah?
No, he's not.
Okay, so
young.
he's old school, right? I'm not trying
Okay.
to be nitpicking here. You're offering strange commentary.
I mean,
Would you say that gentleman that we spoke with today was new school?
no.
Okay, so wouldn't it just be, yes, he's old school?
Sure.
Just for the sake of effortless or easy conversation?
Okay.
Not trying to be nitpicking here, but you know, probably when the man is 70 years old, isn't the answer definitely yes?
Okay.
I'm just, just trying to be...
I barely know the guy. I walked in on you trying to buy some office furniture.
Negotiating. He reached out to us.
Okay.
Yeah, so I guess the question is this. What does the new age office look like?
That's a good question.
We are in the executive office space game. We have 29 of them. There's high demand for it because folks still need an opportunity or a space to go face-to-face with a human being, and they're looking for flex space. Ours renting well. But what does that flex space look like? Some of the tenants, some of the folks that are in our flex space, our flex offices, our executive offices, just have 2 couches looking at each other. One couch on one wall, the other couch on the other wall, and a coffee table in the middle. We got one tenant that literally has a stand-up desk, no chair, and a flat-screen television on the wall, and that's it. I'm just curious of what's going to happen to all this desk, all these desks, these conference rooms, and the producers of these desks, these conference rooms, these professional seating areas. We talked yesterday of how Gen Z, what behavior is Gen Z going to kill of millennials and boomers, boomers? How about Gen Zers and their social norms and their behaviors crushing or decimating the supply chain of office space manufacturing?
I wouldn't lay that all at their feet, but yeah, I think there's a growing trend of people that say, why do you need me to be in the office?
Right? I mean, me personally, I thrive on being around people.
Yeah.
I still think there will be a need for office space because people are like bees and they need to be around each other.
Yeah, that's fair, but you don't need an office space to be around people. In fact, a lot of the time you spend outside of the office, meeting with people. I think that there are definitely some businesses that do better in a group setting, and others where I think I think people are realizing that it may be trend isn't the word I'm looking for. It may be just a bygone era of requiring everyone to be in an office no matter what.
You think it's a bygone area?
Well, you're talking about the glut of office furniture in the market. I would say that a lot of people, whether office managers want to agree or not, I think a lot of people are saying, look, I can do my job just as well from home. If we're following the metrics of what I did while I was working in an office and the metrics of what I'm accomplishing at home, you can clearly see that there's little difference. and forcing me to, ride a bus, drive a car, ride a bike, walk, however it is people are getting to the office, that morning and evening transit.
Well, no one's forcing you.
Right, except if you wanted to keep that job.
That's up to the person.
Okay, well, now who's nitpicking?
I'm not. I'm certainly not nitpicking.
Yeah, but it's not a point of, nobody has to go into the office. I mean, I don't know.
You think the employers still have the leverage?
No, we're not talking about now. We're talking about previously, for, however long we've had offices and businesses with offices.
Where would you think the leverage is now, the employees or the employers?
I think it's a push and pull. I don't know that anyone has a clear advantage. There are some people that are just going to say, no, this isn't for me. I'm not traveling 45 minutes one way to come into your office when everything I can do there, I can do just as well at home and save myself time and money.
And if the employer says, okay, then, this isn't the best place for you, then it would just be up to that team member to find other line of work.
Some people may say, okay, well, if that's what you want, I'll come do it. Other people are going to say, okay, fine.
Yeah.
Find someone else.
That's why I think the employer still has the leverage. And I also think that while the technology is going to get more ubiquitous, more approachable, more robust with its offering, I still think the camaraderie and the unity that can be built with being around people and team is something that can never be, how would you characterize it, marginalized or discounted. In fact, we have had a number of clients who've gone almost predominantly Zoom or virtual with their businesses, whether it's teaching, whether it's tutoring, whether it's language, whether it's client services. In fact, on Hillary's show, Hillary Lewis Murray, The Juicy Details, that show airs on Wednesdays. In fact, it airs today at 2:15 p.m. on the I Love CVille Network. Her last guest, Hillary Lewis Murray's last guest, what was the name of her last guest? Vanessa?
Hillary Murray's last guest was Williams, Allison Williams.
Very good memory. Thank you. She even highlighted on the program Allison Williams, who's the CEO of Place, essentially a real estate consulting firm, how her team, she said, we hire now for talent and not location, but she highlighted on that program how her staff and personnel is missing an element of solidarity and unity, and that can impact performance and commitment to potentially a company. I still think there's a commitment or still a need to seeing people in person. Anyway, we got off track here. Andy, welcome to the program. He's watching on Twitter. I love when he offers responses to us on Twitter. Thank you for watching the show, Andy. Headlines I want to highlight today on the Wednesday edition of the program. The FBI, in conjunction with the Charlottesville Police Department, the Albemarle County Police Department, and the and other authorities, have arrested a man tied to an East Coast prostitution ring for almost 24 hours. I mean, call it 18 to 20 hours roughly. The FBI was over there right off 250, Judah. And Bryant Lamont Turner, who is 42 years old, was arrested this morning at a home in Charlottesville following hours of long standoff with police. This guy was utilizing coercion, intimidation, was targeting drug-addicted women, utilizing the drugs that the women were addicted to keep them under his control. He was utilizing guns and a weapon to intimidate the women into sexual acts. He was posting solicitations online, encouraging people to respond to the online solicitations to have sex or perform sex acts with women that were under his control. He was there goes the mayor right there. Brian Holuska was right in front of him as well. These women were being whisked from hotel room to hotel room in Charlottesville and the surrounding area by this 42-year-old man. So this guy is running a pretty elaborate prostitution ring.
Yeah.
The FBI highlights that it had East Coast geography or footprint. Not only does it have a vast coastal footprint, he is running it pretty much all himself, posting the ads, recruiting the women, transporting the women, staying in the hotel room next to where the sex acts were being performed or waiting in the parking lot. He was a drug dealer keeping the women addicted to the drugs they were hooked on by supplying them the drugs. He utilized guns. He utilized intimidation, coercion, digital media, social media, marketing, branding. I mean, this is an elaborate ring. The FBI, unmarked vehicles, men and women with FBI jackets on, bulletproof vests, machine guns, closed down a portion of Charlottesville and worked in conjunction with Albemarle and Charlottesville police departments to arrest the man who finally walks out of the house and allows them to arrest him. And fortunately, thank goodness, in peace, and ends hours of standoff. I mean, this had all the makings of SVU, Homicide: Life on the Streets, Law and Order, The Wire, The Sopranos, all wrapped in one. And right here in Charlottesville, Virginia, ladies and gentlemen, so much I want to unpack here. Where do you want to begin? And you have the lower thirds on screen?
I did, yeah. I think bravo to the FBI, to the police for helping them out and for getting this guy off the street. I don't know if he was a solo operator or if he had a larger group helping him out, but hopefully they'll eventually spread the net wide enough to capture anybody that was assisting him in what's a pretty horrible thing to inflict on someone, man, woman, or child.
Yeah. Your favorite cop show?
I don't know if anybody has ever. I don't know if anybody remembers this. There was a one-season show called The Unusuals that starred Jeremy Renner, and it was
one season.
Yeah, it was a really, really good show.
Why only one season?
I mean, this was years ago. I don't know if it got. I don't remember if it got canceled or if it was just they had an idea and they made a great season out of it.
Did you ever watch Homicide: Life on the Streets?
No, I didn't.
Have you ever seen The Wire?
Nope.
Never seen The Wire?
I didn't have HBO when it was coming out.
It's also on other streaming platforms. Sopranos.
I watched a little of it, I think.
Homicide: Life on the Streets. Andre Brower was absolutely amazing as Frank Pembleton. If you haven't seen Andre Brower as Frank Pembleton on Homicide: Life on the Streets, you're missing one of the best cop shows, awesome, of all time. Clark Johnson as Meldrick Lewis, also one that stole the show for me. Frank Pembleton's partner.
That's a great name.
Yeah. Law and Order. You a Law and Order fan?
My friend is, but I'm not.
You watch any Law and Order?
There are like 38 seasons of it.
There's various Law and Orders, various franchises of Law and Order. Have you seen Law and Order ever?
Yeah, I've seen Law and Order.
Okay, I wasn't sure if we were going to add this to the short list.
There's like SVU and they're
Lenny Briscoe, amazing in Law and Order.
Okay.
Jack McCoy, amazing in Law and Order. Love Law and Order. I mean, we have some cop stories on today's program. This Rivanna Trail attacker, if you want to put that lower third on screen, we'll kind of hop back and forth. I mean, he's an alleged attacker. I need to use the word alleged. Yeah. Alleged attacker. He says he has alibis that reinforces his innocence and that he is not the attacker the police are pursuing. Who is, from what I've been told and what I've read, groped and or physically touched women walking or running alone on the trail.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a travesty today that a woman can't run by herself on a public trail like the Rivanna.
Yeah.
An absolute travesty. It's also, I hope that he was not, I hope a mistake was not made here with who was arrested.
Right.
If this gentleman has the receipts, I mean, and he tells Hall Spencer he was on a Zoom call, leading the Zoom during the time of this.
Yeah.
Time of one of these attacks. Did you read that?
Yeah. You'd think that it sounds like from what he said his alibi is fairly airtight. I mean, he says that he wasn't on
what he claims.
Yeah, well, he says he wasn't on the trail that day or the day before or after. He says that he says that the times that he's accused of being there, he's got, he was on a Zoom call with, did you say 7 people? I mean, that's a fairly solid alibi. And he's got a fiance who I think also corroborates his story. So it sounds like once the police are able to go through all of the evidence he's provided, he'll probably be acquitted or let go. I don't know. Acquitted would have to be going to actual court. I don't think they would bring charges if they weren't sure.
Bill McChesney says it was FBI True. It was a cop show in Charlottesville yesterday. Hopefully there's a little bit of clarity on that one for this particular individual. Well, I won't use his name here in case that there is clearing.
I mean, his photo's already been taken. His name's been put out there.
He said he was in that article that Hall Spencer wrote. He says he was working out at Planet Fitness when he saw himself on the TVs.
Yeah. I mean, it's a shame. Obviously, we kind of thrive on news stories like this, but when people are innocent, it's tough, especially considering some people aren't going to see that. Some people are just going to see that your face and your name up on the screen and see that you were charged with something. And once your name is cleared, it's not like they put out an APB that this guy his name has been cleared.
The correction is always much diminished in visibility when compared to the first story. And
there's also no way to ensure that message gets out to everybody that saw the initial story.
A lot to cover. We'll follow that one closely. Vanessa Parkhill watching the program right now. Vanessa Parkhill says this. 25 years ago, I worked for an environmental consulting company where a fair number of the staff was out in the field at any given time. As a result, only a handful of the professionals there had their own office. Most people were doubled up in an office, but were often there alone because of the nature of their work. It was a very smart way for the company to minimize the amount of office space they leased, very similar to the hybrid work situation many employers are looking at today. Thank you for sharing that, Vanessa in Earlysville. Stacy Baker Patty, thank you for watching the program. She says, it seems as if the prostitution ring leader, that it's not his first offense with this type of illegal activity. A simple Google search suggests it dates back to 2019, if not 2017. Thank you for sharing that, Stacy Baker Patty. In fact, these viewers and listeners are in the viewer power ranking. Police driving by right now. Conscious and the Albemarle County Police Department are doing a great job. Stacy Baker Patty is... Do we have her in the power poll?
Let me see.
She needs to be in the power poll if she's not. Oh my goodness. Stacy Baker Patty is not ranked?
Nope.
Stacy Baker Patty, you're now going into the power poll. Let's get Stacy Baker Patty at 35 in the power poll, please. And her star is rising quickly. Vanessa Parkhill is very much a valued member of this family. Vanessa Barker is number 6 in the power poll. If we can get her photo on screen. Bill McChesney is watching the program. He's a valued member of the family. Bill McChesney, if we get his photo on screen, is number 15 in the ranking. And I have a feeling when the new poll comes out, he's going to be ranked even higher. Stacey Baker Patty, welcome to the Power Rankings. And thank you kindly for supporting and watching the show. Two stories we lead with. We're going to get to Deschutes in a matter of moments. We're going to get to Deep Throat. I'll get to your comment in a matter of moments. We'll get to that $4 million Levy and Avon allocation for a homeless shelter in a matter of moments. I think you have the Google map that you can put on screen. A lot I want to cover today. In fact, why don't we get Deep Throat number 1 in the Power Polls ranking. He's mentioning office furniture, that he recalls an incredible crash and the price of, is it Arion chairs in Manhattan between the spring of 2007 and the winter of 2008, 2009. Is it Aeron? How do I say that, Deep Throat? Do you know, Judah?
I mean, it sounds like Aaron, but...
Aaron chairs? Herman Miller, Aaron chairs, is that it? And Deep Throat also says the prostitution ring guy was caught multiple times. The difference is that this time he is not up against... he's up against a federal prosecutor. They are hard guy. They are hard asses, and there's no parole for federal offenses. Aaron is how you say that chair. Thank you, Deep Throat. Ginny Who, thank you for retweeting the show. Let's get Ginny Who's photo on screen. Ginny Who is number 4 in the Power Polls. For a 24-hour period of time, we were the set of an NBC or ABC cop show, HBO cop show. My wife was driving our sons past the crime scene yesterday, and our oldest saw the FBI and the machine guns and the unmarked vehicles and the dozens of law enforcement.
Did he ask what show they're filming?
And he literally was like in absolute awe, magnetized to what was going on. Such is the life of a 6-year-old, if you may. Yeah. The next headline I want to get to on today's program is Amazon buying 50 acres in Roanoke from Deschutes Brewery. This story has a Charlottesville angle. The Charlottesville angle is Deschutes, when they bought this 50 acres in Roanoke, they initially were going to try to buy acreage in Albemarle County, just south of, would that be south of Charlottesville? I guess that would be south of Charlottesville. Kind of where Virginia Eagle distributorship is now. That 29 South corridor on the way to Nelson, where that big intersection is.
Yeah.
They were trying to do their East Coast hub there. And Deschutes was trying to expand to the Charlottesville area. This is one of the first times I spoke before local government. It was a Board of Supervisors meeting. I think this was the first time I spoke. And this particular brewery, which was founded in Bend, Oregon, was trying to have a hub on the East Coast to make distribution easier. And it was magnetized or gravitated to the Charlottesville area because it found the socioeconomic demographics and the passions and interests of the region were akin or synonymous or similar to Bend. There was a commitment to outdoors. There was a commitment to craft beer. There was a commitment to the environment and doing well by the environment. There was a commitment to exercise and running, commitment to water and biking. And it was located in a hub on the East Coast that would allow them to easily distribute their liquid. And Albemarle County at the time, they needed, and John Blair might be able to help me with this, they needed to approve some more relaxed, I'm going to put this in very layman terminology. Albemarle County didn't see the potential of 103, 104, 105 new jobs, incremental jobs, new jobs to the area, jobs that were paying pretty well, and they needed to loosen some zoning ordinances and regulations to allow Deschutes to build this hub next to Virginia Eagle Distributing. I vividly remember Scott Warner, who was one of the key, he may still be, Scott Warner was one of the key principals or one of the key decision makers with Virginia Eagle Distributing at the time, speaking before me at this meeting. At the time, I was living in Redfield, so this particular Deschutes location, which was going to have a tap room as well, was a hop, skip, and a jump where I was living. So it would have been a great amenity for Southside Charlottesville and for 5th Street and Avon Extended, because it would have been less than 5 minutes away. And Scott was one of the architects of the of attracting Deschutes. He's like, look, it's right next to our distributorship. We have the land here. There's water here. This is exactly what they want. Albemarle, see the big picture. And Albemarle did not loosen the regulation for Deschutes to open this East Coast hub. Now, in hindsight, this maybe could have been a blessing, because Deschutes, when they passed on Charlottesville because of red tape, they headed to Roanoke, and they bought 50 acres in Roanoke, and it never materialized. I mean, Deschutes, when they were going to build this East Coast hub, even rented a tap room in downtown Roanoke. A tap room to start driving interest in the brand and interest from the community in what they were going to do. They ended up closing the tap room, and now Deschutes is selling to Amazon. This, according to Cardinal News, the e-commerce giant Amazon has bought an approximately 50-acre piece of land in the Roanoke Center for Industry and Technology from the Oregon-based Deschutes. The city of Roanoke announced this past Friday. Amazon plans to build a 125,000 square foot last mile distribution center there to handle customer orders. Specific terms of the deal were not included in the news release from the city on Friday announcing the deal. Mark Nelson, Roanoke's Director of Economic Development, said in an email that the deal closed January 3rd, but Amazon and Deschutes had not disclosed the sale price to city officials. I'm torn on Amazon penetrating so many communities and jurisdictions.
Yeah.
They are investing $11 billion in Louisa. Our contacts within Louisa government and on its board of supervisors have indicated that this will probably birth, 1,000 direct and indirect jobs, well-paying jobs.
Are they?
And, what's well-paying?
Do we know that?
I mean, that's what the board of supervisors said. Louisa's HUD income level is very different than Charlottesville's.
No doubt.
Cost of living is more affordable in Louisa than compared to Charlottesville and Albemarle. One of the indications why the Louisa real estate market is hotter, is hot right now. What is your take on Amazon penetrating so many localities? And John Blair, I'm going to get to your comment next.
I mean, I kind of see them as a bit of a disease.
Wow.
I mean, they may or may not be actively destroying small businesses to take over, pretty much every corner of, what can't you buy from Amazon? Unfortunately, I think a lot of the things that they sell that may have started off as quality products have been, whoever's selling them, I think a lot of that stuff is now getting pumped out of China, or at the very least cheap labor hubs or whatever. And so, for instance, a lot of the tripods that we use, we've got. I think most of them are pretty quality, but some of the
last batches were pieces of garbage.
And the thing is, they're the exact same brand. And I think it just goes to show. I think it just goes to show that a lot of things on
studio camera. Go ahead, keep going.
A lot of things on Amazon, once they get you, once they
hook their teeth in you.
Yeah, once they hook their teeth in you, and it's not just hooking their teeth in us. Once they've outsold the rest of the market on a particular product, they have no particular
commitment to quality.
Yeah.
All they care about is margin.
Yeah, and what are you going to do? Where else are you going to buy it?
So that's a great take from Judah B. Wickhauer, the jack of all wits, single and ready to mingle. This tripod that I'm holding up right now is one of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think we have 9 of these tripods in the studio, J-Dubs.
Yeah.
And 9 of these tripods in the studio we have, I think they're all this Targus brand tripod. Because what we do is we go to Amazon into history and just reorder what we previously purchased, which we're pleased with. And John Blair's watching the program right now in regards to the Deschutes Amazon story. I'm going to highlight what he said, and then I'm going to talk about the Prime fee that just hit my account that I'm paying for. He says, Jerry, you were correct. The county needed to rezone more land and only rezoned a small portion of it. And that's why Deschutes went to Roanoke. That's the Star City, I think, Roanoke. So this Targus tripod was just reordered on our Amazon history. And the first few we got were fantastic.
If you see the color difference on...
Can they see it?
On these and on this one and the one that Jerry's holding. The one he's holding and this one in the center are the newer ones. And these are, and this one over there...
Are the older ones.
Are the older ones. And the older ones are, I mean, there's a clear difference in quality when you're looking at them up close and dealing with them, because we've had at least one of them break.
No, what happened? It broke. It came to us broken, and then we sent it back to Amazon. They sent us another one, and the other one they sent to us also came back broken as well.
Yeah.
And then the third, and then they said, don't even bother sending us back the broken one. Keep the broken one, and then they sent us a new one just to keep us happy. In fact, one of them we're using is the broken one.
Possibly. But yeah, it's a shame, especially when we buy things quickly
without thinking,
out of convenience, and
I just paid $139 for my Prime membership. I just looked at my statement online while talking here. $139 for Prime.
Is that for the year?
Yeah, that's for the year. And that gets me the immediacy of the shipping, oftentimes day of shipping. We're now in an instantaneous society of needing whatever we buy within hours of clicking checkout. It also gets me the content associated with Prime on streaming. And they do have some content. In fact, to highlight this, I watched yesterday, and I was going to bring this up because I know you made some money with this as well. I watched Dumb Money yesterday, and Dumb Money is a fantastic movie. My wife watched it with me as well. We watched it before bed. And Dumb Money is the story of David versus Goliath when it came to GameStop. The story of... I don't want to use the F word. Deep effing value.
Yeah.
And what's his name?
You can call him Roaring Kitty.
Roaring Kitty.
It's the same person.
Yeah, same person. Roaring Kitty, was it Roaring Kitty on YouTube and Deep effing value on Reddit, or was it the other way around?
I don't remember which was which. His real name was Keith Gill.
Yeah, Keith Gill. Right. So Keith Gill has this moniker, these two monikers, Roaring Kitty and Deep effing value.
Yeah.
And he utilizes streaming, much like we're doing right now.
I think it was Roaring Kitty on YouTube and
Deep effing value on
DFV on Reddit.
On Reddit. Diamond Hands.
Less in terms of Diamond Hands was.
Anyway, we're nitpicking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I watched it last night. I think you would love it. Viewers and listeners, if you want, I believe it's on Netflix. If you want a piece of content that you will enjoy, watch Dumb Money. It was just released on Netflix. It's fantastic.
Nice.
They've had three different, a documentary and 2 movies on GameStop and how Redditors or retail investors used organization and social media to basically stick it to Wall Street.
I don't know if that's 100%.
That's definitely 100% true. It's 100% true. They organized.
You sound like they were a block of interests that were all working together in some type of conspiracy to bring down Wall Street, which I don't think is true. Though I haven't seen the shows. I haven't seen the movie.
That is very close to what actually happened in real life.
I mean, you're basically saying that a bunch of disconnected investors all buying a stock.
You had a bunch of inexperienced retail investors
buying a stock.
Buying one stock despite it having deplorable financials that would never justify purchasing this company.
But that's not what Keith Gill found.
Keith Gill,
He found that it was a hidden gem in the rough.
despite the
right?
fact that it had massive turnover at its CEO position, despite the fact that storefronts and retail purchasing at storefronts was going by the wayside, and that's how GameStop made its money, selling video games and new and used video games at storefronts like the mall.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that institutional investors and hedge funds had studied balance sheets and financials, had looked at personnel, looked at the C-suite, looked at the board, and realized that this company was deplorable. Keith Gill, who was very low man on the totem pole, he worked for...
he's not even on the totem pole.
He was on the totem pole. He was working for a financial firm at the time. He was working, you got to be careful here. Keith Gill was working for a financial firm at the time. He was working in finance. He, in fact, was given a choice by his boss to either keep his job, to either resign or get fired.
Okay.
While working for a financial firm. He takes this alter ego, Roaring Kitty or Deep Effing Value, DFW, DFV, and he encourages a swarm, a swath, a gaggle of retail investors who knew next to nothing about investing into stocks to follow his lead while wearing a tie-dye shirt with kitty cats on them, a headband, literally a Mr. Miyagi Karate Kid headband he would wear, and do meme-like videos. And it created a meme investing phrase where retail investors acting in concert with each other were able to stick it to Goliath. And they did it not just to make money, but they did it to F you, or to give the one finger salute to the system that they've felt has kept them down for generations, if not longer. That's accurate. Which part is not accurate there to you? Gill was a registered financial broker. He worked for Mass Mutual.
Are you 100% certain that he did that while he
Oh,
was...
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
100% certain.
And how do you explain logically that a bunch of people buying stocks are even... How are they even able to take on Wall Street?
You had Melvin Capital,
I know.
a hedge fund, backed by Steve Cohen and legitimately billionaires. One of the backers, one of the billionaires that offered a rescue line to Melvin Capital was one of the investors of Robinhood, the trading app. Mm-hmm. And you had these Redditors, these retail and institutional retail investors work together to try to screw, for example, Melvin Capital, who had a massive short position on the stock. Melvin Capital, this hedge fund, essentially saw this company as going in the crapper. And they bet this company, Melvin Capital, was going to go into the crapper, and the upside was going to be significant money heading to Melvin Capital's way. Once the retail investors, the Redditors,
something crazy?
Once the retail investors and the Redditors realized that Melvin Capital was shorting this stock, they pumped obscene amount of money into the company, taking its price per share to $500 a share. I remember when you were doing this in this office, and you were like, I'm making boatloads of money on GameStop over here. And I mentioned to you on the desk, over literally right next to you, I said, be really careful. You don't want to be the last man holding the bag. Did I not say that to you multiple times?
Probably.
Do you know what it was over $500 a share during COVID. I caution, okay? And I don't know what you made. You don't have to explain it to people. If you want to share it, that's up to you. It's completely your call. Do you know what the stock is trading at now?
No, I couldn't.
$13.96 a share as of this very minute. And less than, what? Let's look at the chart. I can call up the chart right now. 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, let's see the 5 year. When did it get to 5? During COVID, what was it trading at? $500 a share?
During COVID? I don't know.
I mean, obscene amount of money. Obscene amount of, this was, and you jump in and have conversation here. You actively were living this during, while on the clock, by the way, but you know, I respected your hustle and chutzpah and making some money. I sincerely appreciated what you were trying to do. You saw an opportunity. You were for a period of time deep in these boards.
I made good money. It wasn't because of anything on Reddit. I think I saw the stock rising in price. At the time, I was using Robinhood as well.
Oh, we should talk about that.
I've since wised up.
Yeah, you know why?
Because it's a scam.
Robinhood, one of its investors, right, was the same hedge fund that offered a $1 billion+ life valve to Melvin Capital, who was shorting GameStop.
I'm pretty sure whoever gave Melvin the lifeline was probably also shorting GameStop.
Whoever gave Melvin the lifeline also could have backdoored, because there's clear text message communication that's been on the record where Robinhood was communicating with its investor, and its investor was indicating, during when Robinhood said we're going to stop allowing trading to happen on this stock, and when it froze trading on GameStop,
a lot of other brokers did as well. It wasn't just.
But most of the Redditors and retail investors were utilizing Robinhood because it's no commission trades.
Yeah, a lot of.
It's the, how would I characterize that trading platform? It's not the trading platform of the sophisticated.
Well, Robinhood wasn't just fairly ubiquitous because they didn't charge fees. A lot of online, you can get apps for TD Ameritrade, Webull. There are a lot of them that.
The reason Robinhood caught fire was no commission trades, and it made its digital infrastructure, its app infrastructure, as if you were playing a game. It made it so easy that like a fourth grader could do it. And that's to the detriment of the retail investor, that they made stock trading as if you were playing a video game and really diminished the fact that you were investing your actual money into this.
Okay.
Do you disagree with what I just said?
I think it's partially true, but.
Which part is not true?
I mean, you can't put everybody that was on Robinhood in one boat and say that they're all, idiot investors, right?
I would say, and I'm choosing my words carefully here, the Robinhood app is the app that unsophisticated traders are going to use to trade.
I think they did a great job of advertising, and they had one of the friendliest UIs that any app has or has had, which very much worked in their favor. And yeah, they made it. They made it as if you were. They made it easier for anyone to put money in and invest, which in itself is not a bad thing. But anybody who's investing, no matter the app, no matter the age or sex, needs to have enough information to make wise decisions. And that I think the app doesn't matter in that case. It's the case that everybody that's going to be investing money in the stock market should, do their research.
The app was taking advantage of folks that did not have the sophistication to see the big picture.
I mean, are you saying that some people shouldn't be allowed to invest money?
That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying that app is akin to how the lottery makes its money. The lottery makes its money by the dog and pony show of advertising, glitz, glamour, and accessibility. And a certain demographic is playing the lottery consistently. It's the same thing.
Okay.
It's the same type of situation. In the grand scheme of things, playing the lottery, would you characterize that as smart?
No, I would not characterize playing the lottery as smart.
Right. The odds are stacked against you in ridiculous, obscene levels. But the lottery preys on people through dog and pony, pomp and circumstance, glitz and glamour, marketing, and accessibility. And that's the exact strategy that Robinhood utilized to drive user engagement. Deep Throat's got some commentary I want to get to. 100% of the GameStop story is the danger of being short when there is a large short base, a terrible squeeze. These happen from time to time. Just first time it was something visible to the general public and caused by general public. But off the top of my head, the Volkswagen Porsche squeeze was way worse.
Yeah.
That's something I think we've talked about on the show.
I think there was a Tesla squeeze that hurt a lot of the big guys as well.
Deep Throat says the business model of Robinhood is absolutely to get noise traders. The noise trader flow is friendly, flow for high-frequency trading firms. That is why Robinhood got paid way more to order flow than other platforms.
Yeah, PFOF, payment for order flow. Not to mention, one of the worst practices that I think far too many brokers do, which is lending out your shares to use against you. And I would urge everyone who is invested in the stock market to call your broker, talk to whoever it is that you deal with, and make sure that they're not lending out your shares to be used against you.
How can I ask you, how deep did you go before you exited GameStop?
What do you mean, how deep did I go?
How far did the price drop before you exited GameStop? You don't have to. If you don't want to answer that question, you don't have to.
I mean, at the very beginning,
I was very nervous, very concerned.
I think I sold before the price started dropping. At least
Okay, so you sold. You're saying you sold at the top.
Most of it, yeah.
John Blair says Dumb Money is absolutely fantastic. It's a great film. He says it was a coordinated gamma squeeze play by Reddit folks. What happened is that they realized large hedge funds were shorting the stock, so they coordinated a buy. This buy made the price go up. Since the price was going up, the hedge funds had to buy to cover their losses. The hedge fund buys sent the price of the stock to the moon. 100%. They worked in concert to inflate a price, inflate a company's value, stock's value. You guys will love this. I think you will love it. And a salute and congratulations to you. Sounds like you sold at the peak. Props to you.
I made some decent money on it.
That's good. Props. Will you watch, if you have an opportunity, watch it over the next few days? Because I would love to get your take on it.
I don't have Netflix, but if I do have the opportunity to watch it, I will.
You don't have Netflix?
I didn't cut the cable cord just to spend the same amount on.
Netflix is like $19. The cable cord was
$19 a year.
$19 a month.
Yeah.
How much was Comcast running you? 100 plus?
It's like $100.
So respect. So you're doing more on the reading front than the content of watching.
Yeah, they're like.
I didn't know you didn't have Netflix.
No, I haven't had Netflix for a while.
Well, you don't. You're not a. Do we call it TV? We talked about this the other day. What do we call it?
I'd still call it TV.
You're not a TV guy, though, right?
There are things that I like, but
I respect that you don't have Netflix.
I just don't. I don't go home and want to spend hours sitting and watching. There's just so many shows, and I think what I've seen is that Netflix has no respect for the shows that it puts on.
We need to change that lower third, people are saying. Go ahead. I apologize.
I've just got our names on there.
Oh, okay, good.
I think a lot of the streaming platforms don't really. They're similar to Amazon. They're killing television. They're killing. They're competing with each other, trying to to be the biggest and the best, to make the most money. The problem is they don't actually care about any of the shows that they're putting on. Some of the places might. I know you love Yellowstone, and that was Paramount.
Paramount Plus.
I've never had Paramount, so maybe they have more respect for their writers and directors and actors and actresses. But what I've largely seen is good shows that get canned after 2 seasons, and I've just I don't want to invest in a show that that gets cut before it's been able to tell its story. And so at this point, I'd rather wait until something, completes its run, and then I can, listen to advice from the people that watched it, see whether or not it's good enough to check out, and whether it's even worth it checking out, because I don't want to half a story.
I so much appreciation for you. You're a march to the beat of your own drum individual.
Yeah, and all that is
very
not
unique
to say
individual.
I don't have shows that I watch.
No. You don't have to. I love the stance that you just took there. It's
I also find myself.
I've never heard that stance before.
I also find myself scrolling through streaming platforms.
I do that too.
Going like, I'm putting that on my list. I'm putting that on my list.
The paralysis of analysis of what you pick.
I mean, part of it's like,
it's like the Chinese food menu.
Part of it's like, I don't want to sit and watch this for 2.5 hours. I wouldn't mind watching it at some other time, but right now, I just want something quick and easy, and I scroll around and nothing. There are a lot of things are like, I'll save that for later, but ultimately, I think I'm probably better off not watching those because they don't appeal to me enough for me to like pop them on right then.
So what do you do at home off hours?
Sometimes I read. Sometimes it depends. Sometimes I've got video games because I'm using an Xbox One, so that's got all my streaming stuff. I've got like a game that I'll be playing. Sometimes I'll just turn on YouTube and
you're still streaming content. You're just not streaming Netflix.
I'm just not watching TV shows and movies.
Well, I mean, the difference between playing video games and watching TV shows and movies is marginal.
Except that video games are interactive, and movies and TV shows are just sit there and ingest.
All right, that's a marginal distinction.
You can disagree, but
no, I'm you know my stance on video games. I deplore video games.
Oh, do you?
Utterly despise, hate video games.
I
never told you that?
I'm not sure how I would have known that.
You thought I would have liked video games?
No. You definitely do not seem like the kind of person that would like any video game.
I hate video games.
Yeah.
Find them mind-rotting and numbing and a poor use of time. Now, you can make the same argument with streaming content on Netflix.
I would say streaming content is even more mind-rotting.
Why? Because you're using your fingers with the video games?
You're actively making decisions.
I don't even watch much. To be frank, if you ask my wife, I don't even watch much content. I'm frankly just reading.
And I don't.
I'd say probably read 6, 8, 9 hours a day.
Yeah, and I don't play a lot of video games, but I do find them to be more. They're more involved than just sitting there. Taking in content.
Bill McChesney, the worst broker practice is churning. Vanessa Parko, I love Yellowstone. I'm currently watching it weekly on CBS. Philip Dow, Create TV, I find it's my favorite other than sports.
Create TV?
Create TV.
I don't know what that
Create TV. My wife likes HGTV streaming. All right, it's 1:35. The Hillary Lewis Murray show, The Juicy Details, airs at 2:15 p.m. today. I don't want to discount this topic, so maybe we bring it on tomorrow's program. Many folks have asked. I've probably gotten this from conservatively close to 50 individual people wanting our take on a $4 million shelter in Belmont. We talked about it last week. The meeting happened on Monday, where they greenlit the funds to purchase from was it CRHA, Charlottesville Redevelopment Housing Authority currently owns them, and the city's going to utilize American Rescue Funds, money given during the pandemic for economic stimulus, to purchase now buildings, essentially transferring money from one city coffer to another. A lot of folks are saying, what's the cost going to be for upkeep? What's the cost for staffing, for maintenance moving forward? talk about that. Why don't we talk about that tomorrow? The viewers and listeners, I encourage you to check out Virginia and North Carolina State tonight. The Who's are 6.5-point favorites, 7 p.m. ACC Network. It's a big ball game for Virginia. And the juicy details with Hillary Lewis Murray is at 2:15 p.m. today. Does Hillary Murray have Miss New York on the show? Is it former Miss New York?
It is, let's see, Lee Taylor Sigfusson, Miss New York 2008, and participated in the Miss America pageant.
Former Miss New York, so Miss New York 2008, who made it to the Miss America pageant. Mm-hmm. On set, in studio, on the juicy details with Hillary Lewis Murray at 2:15 p.m. That's the Wednesday edition of the show. Job well done. I learned something. You and I have worked together for 13 years. I had no idea some of the stuff that you mentioned today on the program. Job well done. Judah Wickhauer, Jerry Miller, thank you kindly for joining us so long.